to a new video. I'm just sitting here in the calf pen in the reno barn, surrounded by my friends. Hey, I just wanted to show you guys that because I've been doing that, just going in and sitting with them for just a couple minutes each day. And Pumpkin, I've just been sitting with them for a couple minutes each day, and working with Pumpkin here has actually accidentally made 1719 tame. This is Bianca, and 1715, who is B. She's scratching her head on my back here. And so all because I've been wanting to spend time with Pumpkin, I've been consequently spending time with everybody else here. So we've got a lot of tame heifers in this group of calves here. Hey? And fun fact about B here, 1715, her mom is 1191 Beyonce that's milking in the barn right now. So if you remember in my Happy Thanksgiving video, I showed you a bunch of the cows that I was thankful for, and Beyonce was one of them, and that's her daughter. So today's video is going to be a bit of a controversial one again, I think, more along the lines of why we separate cows and calves. So I hope you guys are happy to be along for the ride, because that's what we're going to be talking about today. First order of business about why we separate cows and calves is honestly calf safety. They, you know, tend to get stepped on, or you guys are gonna let me do the video now? He's eating my hair. You guys, this isn't what social distancing looks like. So a really big factor, first of all, for why we separate Holstein cows and calves is calf safety. We've had multiple injuries occur to calves because Holstein cows and dairy cows generally, personally, I can only speak for Holstein cows because that's what we have here on our dairy farm. So when I'm talking about this video, I'm going to be referring to Holstein cows, not beef, not Jerseys, not Guernseys, not anything else, Holsteins, okay? That's what I have experience with, that's what I know, so that's what this video is going to be about, why we separate Holstein cows and calves. So, like I was saying, injuries occur because Holsteins are a fairly clumsy breed of cow. They're not coordinated. Yeah, you guys are protesting back there about it, but it's true. Actually, about 10 days ago, we had a set of twins born, and it was a bull heifer twin. So that heifer actually got stepped on or kicked in the lower jaw or whatever happened, and her entire bottom of her mouth was just swollen, and she had a really loose tooth, and she was in a lot of pain, actually. So I couldn't get her to drink from the bottle. She didn't have a sucking reflex because her jaw was quite sore, quite injured. Hey, Angel. And so I had to tube feed her because she couldn't drink from the bottle. And if we had potentially left her longer with her mom, then there could have been worse injuries and even death. So that's one reason why we separate cows and calves at birth, is to prevent physical injury. We've also had cows lay on their calves. They just, you know, pop out the baby and then forget that it's there. So that's one main reason why we separate cows and calves. Another reason is because calves, dairy calves, and for us, Holstein calves specifically, have really, really, really underdeveloped immune systems. So if we were to leave them with their mothers, to drink colostrum from them, or to, you know, run around in the pen with their mums, there's going to be a lot of bacteria and, you know, some really not so good antibodies in those pens. Any small little piece of bacteria could really harm a calf in a really, really quick, really bad way. So That's why we put them into these single pens to start off with, to give them a sterile, biosecure environment to start growing up in, so that they can develop their immune systems and become a lot stronger. And you can see that these calves that we're raising in these pens are full of life and vitality. They're very, very healthy, because we do our utmost best to give them the best care possible so that they can grow up to be as energetic as Angel here, right? Another reason is that cows don't always produce enough colostrum to feed their calves. So what we do is we milk them out for the first milking, and then we will pasteurize the colostrum to make sure there's, nothing bad hanging around. And then we freeze it or keep it in the fridge for a couple of days until somebody calves and somebody needs colostrum. This way we make sure that every calf born on our dairy farm gets the same amount of colostrum within 4 hours of being born, so that they have the best possible start in life. We actually also had a calf born like 10 days ago, 12 days ago. She was very weak. Her mom was a little bit sick during the pregnancy, and so during the end of the pregnancy, I'm not sure if the calf got enough nutrients to start off right. So she was born really weak and she couldn't stand for a couple of days. Well, if a calf can't stand, she's not gonna get the colostrum she needs to start out healthy. So we were able to make sure that this calf got enough colostrum to start off good in life, so that she has the proper antibodies to be able to start fighting off bacteria and start a good immune system. Yeah. Another reason that we separate cows and calves is that Holstein cows and dairy cows generally have been bred to produce a large quantity of milk. Our calves at most receive 7 liters of milk a day. If they were to stay with a cow, they would either overfeed themselves, like if a calf gets too much milk and they don't know quantities like we do, they don't know what's enough or when's not enough. So if a calf were to drink more than that too fast or for too long, she would, or he would, most likely develop scours, which is diarrhea, which is very, very dehydrating, and if you don't catch it quick enough, can be fatal for a calf. So we separate them so that we can make sure that they get the right amount of milk at every feeding, so that they don't get too much or too little, and we're able to watch them individually very closely, so that if there is a slight change in their demeanor or their personality or their energy, we're able to see it right away and treat it so that they don't stay sick or get sick even, and then they stay healthy. Because a calf that starts out healthy and stays healthy is going to grow much better and stronger than a calf that gets sick for a little while. Even if a calf is sick for about a week or so, it stunts their growth so much that you can really see the difference at weaning time. So we really, really like to keep them separate in pens like this till they're about 8 to 10 weeks old, and then they get weaned so that we can watch them properly. Another reason why we separate them, going off of that previous point, is that cows, if kept with their calves, are not going to be milked out completely, and that is a recipe for mastitis. So by keeping the cows and calves separate, we're able to make sure that the cows can come in every day at the same time, get milked out completely, because if a calf were to stay with its mom, they would get more than the allotted 7 liters. That's really good for them. And the mom wouldn't get milked out completely. So you would probably get a cow with mastitis. She wouldn't be milked out at all very well. What are you doing? What are you doing? She probably wouldn't get milked out properly, and then she would, get sick, and it can also prove fatal eventually as well. So by keeping cows and calves separate, we're able to make sure that the calf gets enough milk to stay healthy and grow well, and also make sure that the cow gets completely milked out so that she also in turn doesn't get sick. Another important note is that dairy cows have not been bred for maternal instinct. They have been kept in a very soft environment compared to, let's say, beef cows. You have beef cows that have their babies out on the prairie, out in the pasture, and they're meant to raise their babies up to weaning time. And they're meant to protect their babies. So they've been bred and have been selected to have that, you know, motherly, maternal instinct to be able to protect and care for their calves. If they weren't to have that, who's to say that a coyote or a wolf or whatever else that's up here wouldn't pick off one of those calves? Those cows are bred to be hardy and tough and protective. These calves and cows, the Holsteins, are not bred for that maternal instinct because of their high milk production and because we do a really good job of taking care of them. Yeah. So when it comes to all of these reasons, you know, it's really important to know that these cows have been domesticated and kept in, you know, temperature controlled barns that are really comfortable for these cows. Everything in these facilities is made with the cow or the calf in mind. It's not for the people, it's for the raising of calves to make sure that they can grow up healthy and strong. So when we see comments like, oh, they need to be outside, oh, their babies need to be with their moms. These climates in this country, for Canada specifically, and Saskatchewan, can be really harsh. We get minus 30 degrees Celsius winters, sometimes minus 50 degrees Celsius, which is insane. I like to be inside where it's warm and cozy and out of the wind and out of the snow, where I have a little bit of, you know, lighting and electricity to help me see and stuff. I think the cows enjoy it too. They like being in a warm barn where there's no wind and snow and cold, you know, where they can, wow, where they can be safe and, you know, have an unlimited amount of food, where they have companionship, because these babies are not really alone. They can see each other underneath the panel, you know, they can see each other across the way. This is her view directly across the room. So she's always within view of other calves, and they can hear each other, so they can talk to each other. They can definitely communicate with each other. So it's not like she's alone in this calf room. So there's still companionship. And once they're weaned, they do get put together. It's just they're kept separate so that we can give them the exact amount of milk that they need to grow properly, and so that they can't hurt each other. Which leads on to my next point of why we keep our calves separate until weaning time. Calves are savages, to put it lightly. We went through an expansion about 2.5 years ago, and we had to keep our calves in group pens for a little while. So there was 5 to a group pen, and there was a group feeder, and they were fed milk all at the same time in the same pen. And what we really found when we were doing these group feedings was that they would pick one slightly weaker one. Doesn't matter if it was a steer or a heifer or whatever, it wouldn't always necessarily be the youngest one. You know, they would pick one that was weaker, and they would bully it. They would bully it to the point where we did lose a couple of calves. So the way they would do that is pick one calf, and they would suck on their umbilical cord, or where an udder would be. So on a calf, their umbilical cord is right here in the middle of their belly. And then obviously an udder would be farther back. So sometimes they'll suck between the legs to simulate, you know, sucking from an udder or from a bottle. And that wasn't good, because you create naval infections that way and dead quarters. What a dead quarter is when you have a fresh heifer or a cow come in and she's got one quarter, because cows have 4 quarters, that just doesn't work. It's a dead quarter. It won't milk. There's nothing that comes out of it. It's just, it doesn't produce milk. It doesn't work. And that can be the result of a bunch of calves sucking on a calf's, teats when she's very young, which can create dead quarters, which is also highly undesirable because you do want 4 working quarters to be able to milk so that they can produce to the best of their ability. So that's another reason why we like to keep our calves separate, is so that they can't hurt each other. Because we did go through a period that was really heartbreaking, and I lost one of my favorite calves at the time due to that problem, and I never want to go through that again. It was horrendous to watch. So we keep them in these really clean, really sterile pens so that they can grow separately and develop their immune systems, and then put them together once they're weaned so that they don't have the urge to suck on things or on each other, which honestly, these are the healthiest calves we've ever produced in the entire history of our farm. The heifers that are coming in now are the ones that we started raising directly in these calf rooms. They're phenomenal animals. They are so strong, they're so healthy, they're so beautiful to look at, and I'm really proud to say that I helped raise those animals. So to finish off all of that talking, we separate cows and calves to prevent injury to the calf and also to the mother. We separate them so that they don't hurt each other or make each other sick or bully each other to the point of being sick. We separate them so that they can grow very strong in a biosecure environment so that they can develop their immune systems properly. We separate them so that they can get the proper amount of milk that they need. Also separate them so that they get the amount of colostrum they need within the allotted amount of time that's going to help them grow very big and strong. So everything here is built with the calf and the cow in mind, and you can rest assured that even though they are not with their mamas, we humans are very good at doing our job and raising happy, healthy calves. So I just got finished getting a bunch more kisses from Angel, but I want to show you guys the twin heifers that you guys offered a lot of really good name suggestions for last video, and we decided to go with Diamond, and Divine. So those are the twin heifers, Diamond and Divine. I really love the alliteration for that. So this is that little twin heifer I mentioned that got kicked in the jaw. And I'll show you guys right now what her mouth did look like, but right now she's completely healed and she's able to drink from